Now the whole community, everybody knows that women are allowed to do the same thing and they can actually do it really good.
You don't come home and tell me or sound in a very rude way that I have to cook.
So it might be the issue that probably where they're coming from, that was how they were treated, how they were raised, and that was what they believed to be the best.
We'll put our son there.
Exactly.
Hello everybody, welcome to our Mary show. Welcome Mary. Welcome Mary and welcome there. I'm so ready to glean. Welcome once again. Quickly we're going to go into our discussion for today and we're going to be talking about I don't know if controversial even cuts for it because it's a discussion that not many people want to talk about because it looks as though some people have just said, this is the way, let's just, do this. And, let's not beat around the bush. We're talking about, can I be a Christian and still be a feminist? I'm so glad we have a guy message. So it doesn't look like it's just the lady that are talking and all of that. So yes, I want to know your first thoughts. Before we now begin to dissect the whole thing, what do you really think about feminism, and all of that? So yes, if they just ask you like a polar question, yes or no, quick in 5 seconds, quick one, can I be a Christian and be a feminist?
Well, yeah.
Okay. Can I be a Christian and be a feminist? If that's or no.
Oh no?
Yeah. The polar question.
I'll say no, that this did balance to it.
No, fine. Yes or no? Oh, okay. My thoughts did not really matter yet because
he's obviously
okay. No. I did not say anything. So you cannot like no. Alright. It's just a very.
So what you're gonna come on?
Okay, so looking at it from the fact that it's like you speak on behalf of people outside there. You also are speaking on behalf of people outside there. A lot of people have very different opinions about this. Like, okay, why can't I do that and that? Well, I think that one of the problems that we have is the fact that we don't really understand the definition of what this thing really means. So yes, we know what Christianity is. So do we need to define Christianity? So we know what Christianity is. What I think that would have been very confusing opinions we've had is because sometimes people have said feminism is this, feminism is that. And so I want to know, what do you think? What is feminism? When it comes to your mind, let me start from. What's feminism? What do you think? What comes to your mind when you hear feminism?
Feminism is like a social movement that believes that men and women should have equality at every sphere of life. Yeah. I mean, because it's my own like believe like it's going to be probably so political, social, but as time goes on, you see that in the real sense, even dictionary meaning, I like to weigh that out of what feminism is. So, people say that when this is just political, and I feel like those are what feminism is. So the dictionary says it's a social theory of political movements. Political movements, not spiritual movements, which argues that legal and social restrictions on women must be removed. Legal and social restrictions, right? In order to bring about equality of the sexes in all aspects of both public and private life. Oh, yeah. This is Oxford Dictionary.
Well, that is not the anyone need. Yeah, is it a different meaning?
Okay. But then it's just simply the advocacy of women's rights on the ground of equality of the sex. Okay. Yeah. But then your dictionary is telling us that you have equality. They're fighting for equality on every. I think.
Yeah.
On every other side. Yeah, so based on the definition, I would say feminism as a Christian is not biblical. Yeah, that's my understanding about it. It's not biblical. So if you're a Christian, and to people that would fight it, I'll fight it for. Okay, I mean, calm down on that. Calm down on that. So what do you really think about feminism? What comes to your mind?
Well, when I hear feminism, I particularly think of people who are fighting for the fact that a woman deserves to be heard to. A woman deserves to be seen. A woman deserves not to be judged based on the gender when she actually has something that she can offer. There's a job position and you're looking out for a man just because the person is a man. Or you're training up your children and you are giving one some particular kind of morals and then giving the other another kind of morals because this is a guy and this is a girl, so to say. So I see it more of people or ladies coming out to say that we deserve some level of equality. We deserve some level of balance in this thing. So I think it's actually not. There has to be a line. The problem that is coming up these days.
Let's a little bit of that. Okay, so what comes to mind?
For me, when you talk about a feminist, I see it as someone that at some point has a new self-esteem. Yeah. The reason I'm bringing it in that way is feminist, like I said, they want to be heard. But sometimes certain things has to do with the knowledge of who you are. It has to do with knowledge of who you are. If you know who you are, you know it's not about. There are women out there that comment things, and men do not even stand close at some point.
Yeah, so I get that, right? But I'm going to put you a question in the right hand there. Because there was a time when the girl child couldn't go to school. It was these things that we're calling fights that, ensured that the girl child could go to school. So are we not, it's also because some people, when they say the labels of it was passed, that's why it comes to play. So why is it now that some people have thoughts in that sense of the word? We now have certain kind of boys where it still seems that there's still some limitation. Yes, but you're not saying that probably not to misquote you, that it's a matter of low self-esteem.
Because maybe I should define the aspect of the low self-esteem here, which is what I was trying to say. What I'm trying to say in sense of low self-esteem is because at some point I realized I don't know if you've ever seen some feminists. I mean, they go very, very to the point whereby even in their house they want to be the head. Now at that point, that's the part I'm coming from, whereby they feel like, no, you can't be riding over me, you can't do this. And at that point, it doesn't change who you are, is who it is. So at that point, you just happen to have a low self-esteem. So that's where I'm coming about, from my own perspective.
So do you know that I would say that she believes in gender equality? Yeah. Okay, so there's a difference between gender equality and feminism.
I would say that
there is a limit to how far gender equality can go. So while we're talking societal positions, while we're talking Christian in power status and all of that, we can crave for gender equality. But when it comes to the family as Christians, we know God's laid down. The man's the end, and then you support as much as you can. As long as you now want to begin to bring in equality in marriage, then you are making a very big mistake. And this is where feminism is beginning to have a bite side that was being now. Because we have, permit me to say, we have big-time women who are calling themselves feminists. Without really understanding the basics of feminism. They probably have gone through various heartbreaks, they've chopped breakfast, and then they just pick up themselves and say that no, men cannot rule us any longer and all of that. That is not the basic idea of feminism.
Sorry, it's just to say that for every single thing, there's always like an extreme side.
Exactly.
So it's because I don't know, if we're saying that I think that gender equality, people are beginning to say equity, misogyny, like there are different sort of names that, people have stereotypes, all of these things. So I just think it's the extreme. Full this things to be overboard. So should we reframe the question to say that can we do gender equality? Can we really believe that some things belong to women and then they should voice out about these things? Because it seems to me as if we are on the same voice. If you're saying that people can fight for some sort of rights, because I saw you nodding your head and I'm like,
it really is. We're talking about gender equality. It's just like being a feminist. It can be overemphasized.
in fact,
So for instance, now it's okay, I'm a woman here who I'm at home, I can't cook a dinner, I'm tired. You went out this morning and I went outside this. So you should enter the kitchen if you're tired. But then, you should still be able to cook here, but why? You own the house. Do you understand? So these are situations where separatism are actually about emphasizing things. I feel like this is really not right when it comes to cooking.
So you're saying that cooking is like a female's guilty.
I also did say that. So what would you do? You see there's some things that even scripturally, there's some things you can't fight against. Again, the man is the husband, like all around, can't fight it. That's head. And then there's some responsibilities at the woman. There's some times we fight it. You should actually learn to differentiate roles from responsibilities. And that's true. To differentiate roles from responsibilities. Your role is what anybody cannot do for you, but your responsibilities another person can do. For instance, I'm the wife. That is my role. Another person cannot do. What then me cooking for is a responsibility. I didn't make myself out. Out with each. You understand that aspect. So the man as well should understand the fact that primarily she's my wife and she's filled her role as a wife. So she knows when to cook. So when she's not cooking, she's not saying it as though she can't cook because she's a woman and you're a man. She's saying from the angle, baby, I'm tired. And don't F me out. Do you understand? So now the place of going extreme about it is you saying that you went to work since when I went to work, so why should I be the one to enter?
That's a question that's speaking would lead
do you understand? What I'm trying to say is that you should know your responsibility, you should know your role as a wife. The man to know is the Bible says a man that can't provide for his wife as a what is worse than an infidel. Families, do you know that it's meant to provide for his family? Nevertheless, as partners, I can't. Assist.
So because that's also where the problem comes in. Some people say that it's really honest. Now we've shifted into the own, but we're going to find a balance quick. So people say that now women are working, and then you want to send your children to school, or you want, for example, if you're staying in a place like Lagos, except if your husband is really rich, you might not be able to handle the marriage. So you're dividing duties or you're dividing responsibilities. What the man would have done soon, you're not doing together. So that's a big. I think that sometimes people are now like, oh, if that is happening, why are we now still insisting that the woman should be the one cooking? Why can't the husband just say, I want to make you happy for the next 3 months? So the man can pick up not for that.
That's long picking. That's also picking a lot. So see how I don't mind. Just go to the market, get the food stores.
How do they cook? How did
I love Kaiser.
They probably come.
But for real, I still know now I don't like cooking. I've put in effort to this cake because I know that I can't subject my children eating outside. As in the last 2 years, 3 years, because I don't like cooking. This is my responsibility, and it is one of my roles too, as a mother. So the balance is, we finding the balance. I'm a believer. You fighting for feminism and really for feminists. I feel like it's really not necessary.
Someone isn't a feminist and they're quite cool about it. Well, someone does overburn.
The first speech she said about it actually plays a role too.
It does.
Why do you know you're a woman? Exactly. You have high self-esteem. There's some things you don't fight.
But some people fought before your voice could be heard.
Exactly. My voice cannot be silent.
Wait, I'm sorry. I want to say something. Now, you're talking about fighting for a voice to be heard.
Now, I feel that's a different place. Let me explain it. Okay, saying that as maybe someone thought that women should be able to do this, should be able to do that. Good. But to a point where, okay, after fighting and gained our freedom, now the whole community, everybody knows that women are allowed to do the same thing and they can actually do it really good. Now, that's just like, okay, it's like an awareness that has been placed into the, people who understand this and that. But the moment you push it overboard, I think the major thing is not that. There are certain times I think there was a man, he came around my place of work and he did something wrong. His mom was complaining and say, okay, what if you get married? This is, and I was like, that's the way you women do. I said, whoa, come back here, mister. Are you women? No, you don't talk like that. And at that point, I literally had to do some course correction his head because I felt like you can't talk like that about a woman.
That's one of the things that feminism stands to correct. At least that's to correct, to train our younger boys to respect the place of a woman. That you don't see any woman and just throw trash to her because she's a woman. That's one of the things that feminism stands to correct. I'm talking about it in the family setting. I think that it's just very important to note that you cannot enforce feminism in the family setting. And if you want me to cook as the husband, you don't come home and tell me and make it a rule or sound in a very rude way that I have to cook. Even if cooking is my most favorite, if there's any word like that, hobby,
that I would not allow it. I mean, that's just it.
That particular day that you come with all of the rude manner, I would not cook. I would even go to starve. So you I prefer to starve that it feels like you lording the person around. So in the home setting, there could be a place of we sitting down to really count our cost. What exactly is it that we're doing? You're also going to work, so it's going to be too stressful for you to come back, to clean the house, to cook, to take care of the kids, and all of that. I'm also going to work, and if the Bible refers to you as the weaker vessel, then I should be able to at least prove that I'm quite strong. Right? I mean, quite physically. But then there's a place of us sitting down to draft out things, what plans can work to ensure that we're both supporting each other, to ensure that things are making sense between each other. But when you come in a fight in the marriage and say that, no, you have to do this, it would never work.
That's all feminists is the way you say.
That's why I'm saying
that's what I'm trying to say.
Bad now. The feminists of today are just bitter women. Most of them are bitter women, beg your pardon. Most of them are bitter women who just want to fight as much as possible. No, you cannot lord. I think I saw a post that one said that she cannot kneel down to give her husband the traditional drink during the traditional wedding. I'm like, what do you feel? What extra does that?
I feel that's just smart. That's the way I problem. Yeah.
Them feeling bitter and expressing that bitter, not to plaque the bitterness in the heart of every other person. So it's not necessarily a fight when it comes to marriage. The Bible has its standards, and we're not touching that at all. It's stated out. We're not touching that. But when it comes to the society, you can go ahead to raise your voice as much as possible. But in the marriage, you submissively submit your plan. Submit the draft that you have. And both of you will sit down. It now boils down to who you make your head in the marriage. So if a reasonable man will not leave his wife to all of those chores, will not leave his wife to all of those responsibilities, will not make his child more vulnerable than his wife in the marriage. You know, we have some calls. Where the child has more say in the marriage than the wife. A reasonable man will not choose that. So it depends on who you make your head in the marriage that will make the marriage work out and even provide room for some amazing, I don't want to use the word usurping, but flexibility in responsibility.
Yeah. Okay. I wanted to chip in something. I feel that when you talked about, a woman knowing responsibility and all that, and the man also coming, when the Bible was saying help me, I feel like God was thinking way ahead when he said being the help me. But what makes sometimes when I think about being about feminism as a word, I feel like there's a part of their heart that seems right, but I also feel like even the devil in many ways has gotten into this. So you see some people in a family, not just family, setting, she wants to be the boss. She can't afford even a boss to say things that she feels like, no, you can't tell me this and all that. And I think that is where everything turns around to become very, very big. I've heard I mean, they're very dangerous. Now, at that point, it's not about, I'm not going to stay there and say, I'm a woman, she's supporting me. No, it's not going to be that. I'm going to run.
Sorry, talking about workplace, just to get into the system. Have you heard of or been a part of a work system that feels that probably the cleaner is not around, and because you're the lady, and probably you're not even like, yes, and you're not even like, you're not a junior staff or anything. You probably have junior staff, but because you're the lady, I should do the cleaning.
Yeah. I like to be in a place like that.
So when you begin to talk, they now begin to say,
You are arrogant.
yeah, how can't you?
Submissive wife. You cannot.
So some people don't know.
As a woman, you're not supposed to be submissive to just every man on the shore.
Exactly. Here's one. Slap this. But is that like really like does everybody like accept that? Because to some other people it feels like, oh, if you're a man, you should just submit to me. And you know what I'll say about that is the fact that you saying we are not a feminist,
Yeah.
does not mean that when you see something wrong in the society will start. That's why I want to say I'm not a feminist is because to every movement there's a spirit.
Yeah.
Wow. So until you're a feminist, before you know it, we start living like a feminist. Unknowingly. That way we just come up on it's not like
They suddenly have a right to want to stand on.
do you know that I'm not feminist, I used to say, but there's a friend that when I have arguments with my fiance and I'm telling him, okay, babe, see, I know where you're coming from. You know, sometimes I have background interference. Yeah, you upset your parents behave this way. So your dad doesn't eat this kind of food. So your mom's speaking like if they're cat. What if they're like? So this technology is, you know. So I recount this was meanwhile where I was coming from. My dad eats the same food. As a matter of fact, my dad doesn't care. He doesn't care. Let's see. Do you have? Let me explain it. No, we are not having this patient. Now tell me, babe, this is how I should see it. This is the balance. And I'm saying, why do I like to talk like a feminist? That's not love. Why am I dripping this? Because it is a work of the mind for me. I don't want to be like feminist.
Yeah.
Because if I attest to the fact that I'm a feminist, I will marry her. I know what I should not succumb to. I know what I should not expect. So me reading the kind of mother I have with my right, they activating the fact, accepting the fact that I'm a feminist again. Imagine this part something that shouldn't be.
I think that the society has just termed the word feminism to marriage alone. And so we just bring it on. We bring it on when it comes to marriage, basically. We try to paint it more when it comes to marriage. If we can look at the other aspect, if we can look at the other advantages that it brings without going to the extreme when it comes to marriage, I think it would be a better thing for us to do. That's just what I think.
I think the marriage thing is really hard because that's where you cannot say that as a believer. This is God's command. This is God's. So that's why people now want to, try to fine tune the whole thing, and then they're not put in the web. That's why it's really hard because obviously in workplaces people are already, having louder voices that okay, why am I working same working hours with a man and then I'm being paid lesser or today that people now said if you say we're fighting for this thing, let's begin paternity leave rights because you know why? So that the man does not have any skills that I'm going to work so I cannot help you with the kid. It's not actually for the man that they are fighting for that thing. It's for the woman. It's for the woman. You get so they don't say, okay, have paternity leave. Let's do this thing. Let's do workplace. Let's do policy. Let's let everybody, just get into it. But because it's at that place where God has said this, and they're not like, God was in our dispensation. We did not say that, we should touch this thing, and so that's why it really looks like it's so loud. When it comes to marriage.
I want to say something. Actually, this is from my own personal experience. One of the reasons I don't want to be a feminist. I remember growing up, there's so many things I saw in the family and all that, and I told myself that, Mary, so you get everything you want to the point where you can pay for the house rent, get this and get that. No man is going to come near you and tell you this or that. That was my mindset, and I grew up with that. And I got to a point whereby for example, before my friends came around, I had the point where my head was like, okay, sometimes we want to get on a bike and I'm ready to pay the money, I feel like, well, why should you pay my bill? I have my money, you have yours. So what? I literally needed a lot of beating from teachings and studies to make me know that submission cannot work that way. I remember a time he asked me, what the Lord saying today? I said, when the Lord speaks, I'll tell you. And he was like, tell me by Thursday. The anger and me. How will you tell me? And at some point I had to go back to the book of Titus, and then that was when I realized that, oh, okay, then I'll be fine. If I hear anything, I'll tell you. And I kind of did it. Yeah, so I really feel that many times it's not enough so we have many women growing up like this. They don't even know better, to tell you the truth. If only they could see the right teaching. And luckily enough, you're a young lady, you're going this way to say this. I have a woman, like grown-up woman, who is like a feminist and saying, no, you must not accept this in your family. These are the things that will scatter the whole thing. So a lot of time, if we can get, or if teaching and the right words has been spoken to, even this feminist we talk about, there can be a great change, and they can still be.
So maybe instead of saying that no to feminism, let's try to say, okay, this is what you're bringing on, but you're balanced.
You're going overboard. Yeah, I love to support women as I am right now.
Because I feel like there are people who are saying they're not feminists. It's not like they like that women
I'm a women advocate.
More like it. Yeah. That's it.
it's kind of
The feminist at the issue of why is it that you're restricting marriage alone? Because you understand the fact that the society or anything takes from the family. Right. That is the first. So if you're raising a child, you're raising a daughter, before she actually grew up and then goes out there to say I'm a feminist, it starts from what she's seen for. And lots of times, this where we are now getting overboard with this stuff is that family. Yes. It's just like a glimpse of the evil one. Trying to even, so we just got to be sensitive. Yeah. And meanwhile, we are the one fighting our ladies. We are the one backing down. Have you noticed that discussions that have to do with women sometimes, guys are even talking like voice out. We're like really expecting them to just stand up and you guys, won't see that. When it comes to a guy, was saying that he was actually trying to just correct his wife, but people tired. I think you saw this. Why we should be cooking for you all the time? Tired, exactly. She was slave. Still want her to cook you for you to cut to you. A lot of things like that. So that is why, even though feminists are we overboard with it, we are not. We are trying to bring them back and create the balance. So yes, probably we need the feminists, but we need people like us.
Like us. Okay, so I think that I like where we're tying this thing to, but I want us to also touch the fact that leadership in church.
Oh well, that's a lot. That's a whole different ballgame.
Because there's been a woman cannot have some offices in the church, and obviously that's why it looks like feminism is seeping into church leadership. So I really want to know what you.
Okay. All right. Well, for that aspect, it's a lot. Really, it's a lot, because when you look at it out there, I'm fond of sharing personal experiences, because that's the first way many times I learn things. I realize sometimes I have role models, women. I have amazing. They do so many great things. I'm like, damn, it's good to be a woman. Well, a lot of times I look up there and like, think about it. It's sometimes scanty. Really. Can't at least 15 other great men out there before I start thinking about women. Yeah. And I think many times it's that, first, like you mentioned, the setting. I can't imagine, like having a daughter right now. There are many things I want to impute into her and make her know that, okay, you can do this. You can, but for many times it doesn't work like that with some other families. And you see so many women out there, even when they're about to reach that peak, they feel like, no, even they imagine having a conference right now, they say, no, we can't have a woman lead this. We can't have a woman as the head of this. It will make it so weak. Look, I don't want to bring this, but I remember Hillary Clinton, am I correct? And Donald Trump. A lot of times I just imagine if this woman was United States president. Oh my God, you think they're feminists right now? You're gonna say they will say, yes, women are doing this, we can do it, and all that. But that's not the way it should be. Women are amazing leaders. I particularly run away from anything that has to do with, spotlight, where you have to call the shots and all. But I feel like so many times you can see a man out there being a very, very good leader and he doesn't have a support. See, the one might not necessarily be his wife. It can be anyone. It can be special advisor or someone just chipping in this, but it can be so balanced up there without having a woman around. I think when God was doing this, it's all about the real good, bringing a woman into the picture. Whenever you think about women, many times that's why I love movement like women like DDK and all amazing women out there. And I'm like, wow, this is great. They inspire other people, other young ladies out there. And for someone like me that doesn't like much leadership stuff, I do my best to be the best. And a lot of time as a woman, if you're fitting, a man will tell you, please take over. Because you can't do it. That's the point. So a lot of times I see that's why I particularly I have an issue with women that do not themselves. And I don't mean just you see women, I can cook, I recently I cooked at home and I was telling my sister with me, I said, now my fiance is getting a total package. I'm spiritual, I can cook. And I was just mentioning, I was like, come on, it's going to double the price. And I wasn't doing that because I felt I did so good. I was doing deliberately. You see me on YouTube, I Google, okay, how to lead, how to present, how to walk, how to talk, the things you should say in the first 5 minutes you're meeting someone, things like this to build yourself. It's not men's fault that a lot of times they don't want to push a woman into it. Women, you say, what's like you talk too much. You can't trust a woman with this. But if you can, that's the point of being, like she said, an advocate to show that things can be done, even despite being a woman, it can be done right. So I feel that's just the
church leadership and focus
all around.
Okay, so about church leadership, I will say that it's actually start from very good. For instance, I grew up in a background I believe, church background that believes that a woman can never be a pastor. A girl repeats, had speak, God repeats against the audience. While growing up, God led me to my church and then now saw that, wow, so ladies can be teased. Ladies can be down. So I can say, and we can really blame them. What? Number one, probably how they grew up, but we didn't. Now we know better. Right? Now we know better. So it might be the issue that probably where they're coming from, that was how they were treated, how they were raised. And that was what they believed to be the best. So we now that we know that, okay, so this is new creation reality. We've really come to the understanding of spirituality and Christian leadership. So we should know that when you're raising people, when you're raising leaders, and start with your life, be that example. Just like I said, you want to start with creating that mindset that help it is, can't do this. This is what you can do. You can speak, you can talk, you have a voice that must be heard. Nobody should silence you, right? So, and I believe that this new Christian leaders are doing that. So we should not just remember some churches are doing that. I believe that's their cake. Seriously. Trust me. New Christian realities churches, this our generation, ladies are doing stuff in church. Ladies are doing stuff. Like, not from the family. I don't know why I go back. I'm a rich.
Oh yeah. So you have to make
Why I say about family, it's something like mothers telling their daughters that bend down and sweep the floor very well. Because I came and say, "What's your machine?" Oh, can you tell us to treat very well so that she become a better person? I know because she
Can also hearing the word chat.
word chat. Some people don't press word to sweep. So I was still always at every point of the discussion saying that, because you're not house, can you just be better? You're creating the mindset that you're becoming great for that.
That is how I'm fixing your in-laws out.
Everything about you.
So what if I don't get married again?
No,
No, people would have now been wasted.
You know what you said helped me to remember. I made some music recently, and my dad was furious with me. And one thing I loved about everything he was saying is like, you're a woman of purpose. He kept on telling me, there are ways you should think. There are ways you should act. When you see your husband coming from this, there are things you must understand. And he kept on reminding me not about the fact that you're supposed to get married to one man and this is what you're supposed to be doing. He was telling me you're a leader, you're a woman of purpose, all those things. And at that moment, I wasn't, of course, at some point I was like, I was right. is wrong and all that. But at that moment, even all those things, I brought down everything. And I was willing to listen. I'm a woman of purpose. What are the things I'm doing wrong? What are the things I'm doing right here? And I was able to pick in. And this is winning, a little here, a little there. And it's the right content. When you have that, you don't have toxic people out there or women out there, like I say. So the moment you have such input, like you said now, training your own daughter, telling her that I'm telling you to do this, not because you're going to do this to one man or anything, but for yourself, to be a better version of yourself. I think that's the best, really.
I must say that that's very important. I'm privileged to be the only son of 5 children. So growing up was quite intense on me. And this is why I really want a society where we can bring up the girl child, teaching them morals, teaching them virtues of leadership, teaching them virtues of purpose. Because at every slightest mistake, even if I made the same mistake with my eldest sister, the intensity will be different because she's a girl and she would end up in a hospital. So it's not basically about what she can offer to the society. So the correction is not coming from a place of how it's going to shaping her for purpose delivery, for destiny fulfillment. It's her husband's headache, but you as the guy, we're going to sit on you until you are.
We'll put our son's name.
Exactly.
Speaking of a God, it's on the Lord.
You know what? Like, very soon you won't be bearing my name like all that. Yes,
Really, I want a balance where we can teach our girl child leadership. We can teach them all of the virtues, and we can teach our boy child not to be pompous because you're just a boy. Or to feel like the society would just submit to you because and every girl around there is just subject to you because you're a guy. It's very. And then talking about leadership in the church, I think the major problem. I was speaking with a pastor, quite pronounced female pastor, and she was saying the major problem the church has with it is that when you are pastor of the church, what's your husband's role in the church? So is your husband supposed to be a congregation member? Or your husband would just be a male worker, probably a protocol member that...
Why did you have this?
So I think that's the major issue that the church has with women in leadership. If you're a pastor, then what is your husband's role? But we have to find a balance to it, because in the last days, the Spirit of God will be poured upon all flesh. So your sons will do this, your daughters will do this. So there's a place for the man, and there's also a place for the woman. The Holy Spirit is not gender biased. If it's giving inspirations, if it's giving help and all of that, it's not gender biased. So there's also oil that women carry. We had women who were great. We had Deborah, even in that description in the Bible, he was written the wife of that people.
And that was like the very first introduction said why. Exactly.
So Lapidot had to understand that this is my wife's calling, and I'm not going to struggle with her.
I'm very
So he said,
I think we just give it to guys that, support that
clients.
It's some level of
just right there because I'm out there.
I just took it out to my fears.
Yes, you want to do this? Call for it. Yes, I'm there. What else do you need? Should I do this?
It's more hard for me, I think, guy. I mean, you're bearing my son.
I knew I was going to go there.
Now, see you right on.
Oh, my head is all clear. Yeah, that's right. Bring on. What is this? Like, exactly.
So we
I thought about that. I was like, so when husband had to go check, like, she has a husband, right?
I'm in the street game.
Yes, and he's obviously advanced to nice teacher. Yeah,
Liquid children.
yeah.
So both genders have a role to play. The ladies have to still be submissive. The man is still the priest in your home. No matter how anointed you are and God is using you all, just in your home is still the priest, and you must still subject to his spiritual authority in the home. But then the men also now have to learn to come out from the place of insecurity. Like, she's out there in the spotlight, people are knowing her more. I'm also anointed. And all of that. So I think both genders have a role to play, but the church must understand that the pouring out of the Spirit of God is on not nature.
Not some higher than the other. I like chicken soup. I heard this story recently that actually got to be true. So they said there's this woman of God. Anytime she's going out to minister, she will always say that I want to celebrate her husband, my pastor, my this, my dad. All this major, that's like the pastor. So it was one of my pastors that was sharing the story. He said, so since this woman is always talking about this pastor, let me go and listen. I've been back. Instead of that, he now went there to get the mass messages and then he listened to it. That for real, it was not the way that it didn't look like that anointed as the wife. But the woman is so always saying, how do you want to listen? Indirectly, the woman is trying to work on her own.
Yeah.
The woman been trying to listen, like, I don't want to feel that again. She's saying it always. Like, I want to listen to my husband, my priest, anyway. Yeah,
Exactly. What you're saying now made me. I feel like when God was actually creating women, he knew what he has placed in the woman. He had to tell her so weak. He hadn't done anything else. How to try your back. Calm it down. Calm it down. Don't leave.
I should know what you don't submit. Someone that is told to submit, you have something inside. You carry something inside of. And if you don't carry anything, you don't need something.
I don't know that. I don't even do what you carry. A clip of Jumoke Adenowar. Did you see that clip?
I saw it.
Yeah, when the man was saying, you're only saying you're submitting because you don't have the money for it. That's what you said, honey. You know what I'm saying?
Between submission and obedience.
Yeah.
For real. Like, I was submissive because you don't have it. So when your guy tells you that, okay, maybe I want to travel out, and you're like, you should know. But then you still have the money. But then
on top of my own money, she's not doing anything.
That's your like, I have the money, and I actually not.
You don't have a choice. What should have the money? But the moment you have the money, but you have the right to say you want to go, but you defend that, babe. Whenever you leave, I will go. Now that man, such a man, you see, such a man, there is just going to be so big because he's going to feel like, wow, this woman can see this. I know you mentioned something earlier. I realized a lot of times when I feel so down, I see my fear saying, go for it, you can do this, you can do it. And there was a time in my relationship that I felt like I had so many other people around me. And at that moment, I had a choice to say, okay, should I go for this person? Though I had my fears, but I think these people are looking good. But then something kept me with it. And I felt like, no, this one supports me so much. Many of the other people, they don't see it as this. Yeah, he's saying things like, babe, someday they're going to sit under your ministration and I'm going to be blessed. When I wanted to, I was called for administration and my babe was at the back. Right there. It was just talking. I was like, wow. And when I was done, they say, that scripture, there's something wrong with that scripture you said. I don't think you said it. Next time, pray it talks properly. I have a friend that our relationship ended up breaking because each time she wants to say, hey, man, guess what? The word was busy and hectic today. The guy will say, have you spoken in tongues today? How many scriptures have you read today? I told that, babe, play your Bible. I said, you don't have someone. I think, like you mentioned earlier, it's when your wife or your friends or your girlfriend is doing something, it's for your own glory. It's going to be your own something, not us. So you should think about that, really.
So much. Thank you so much, guys. We out to bring this discussion to the say yourself. Let's just, pass our final thoughts, generally on the topic, Christian feminism, church leadership, and the whole final thoughts.
For me, I'd say that, well, having this conversation now, I see the more reason why we should balance brains.
Yeah.
Why we cannot outright be a feminists because they've attacked that society.
Yeah.
And so we wouldn't want to represent Christ and still represent that same type.
Mm-hmm.
So they are quite contradictory. So there's a place for balance. Meanwhile, the church also has to stand up to some responsibilities of sensitizing people. In fact, if something like this are discussed in the church, imagine at this age.
Yes.
People would go on with a different perspective and time. So the church has a role to play too, but then a great deal of balance has to come.
All right. I would like to say that, while we were talking, I had to reflect back on the topic, Christianity. Can I be a Christian? Can I be a feminist? And really, I got an answer to it even much better in this discussion, because I realized that one thing about feminism or being a feminist is it takes away the power of submission. Scripture says submit. A feminist doesn't see it that way. They feel like, no, I'm also a woman. I can do this. I can do that. And before you know it, pride sets in.
Yeah.
Lack of submission, disrespect. Everything the scripture is saying you should not do is what you're going to end up doing. You're claiming on your right of being a feminist, which is one of the reasons why, as much as possible, understanding our role, it comes back to everything and submission. That way, you're going to actually uphold yourself as a woman, and your husband will be blessed that he has you. Not just because you think I should do this or I should not do this, but you're bringing everything, like I mentioned earlier, when my baby was telling me, do this, you should, what does God say? I felt like, why are we be telling what, you know where you're coming from. But apparently, I had to go back to the scriptures. And that word was there, it was saying that submit. I know that I meditated on it all over again, and I had to call back, I'm sorry I did this. And a lot of time, if we have that, that's why we have the scriptures as our guide to help our hearts. It's not like we women. I didn't go and say something where it says submit. We have that ability to just go all stop. So I think that what I've been final thoughts would be that, you know,
It's just like a message to every woman out there, or girl child, or lady out there, that you should be more and you can be more. So you should develop yourself. You know, women, men, and I mean, humans, I don't say humans are generally selfish, natural. And what I mean by that is that if you are good, you are really, really good at what you do, it will step you up. I had a concept, but then you are the reason this company is struggling. Even though you have not any other choice than to read a lot of my body and say, I have no other choice. So we should develop ourselves to be that voice that can never be silent. Right? You get to that stage that you must be heard. No matter who the other, after that one is this business to prosper, then people hear you.
No,
As long as I want this country to go forward, then they must hear you. As long as I want my organization to go forward, then I must put you at this position. Yeah. So I just believe that ladies should work on themselves to become better. And that way, you know, what we...
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Diola. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Mary. You know, so insightful thoughts. That, you know, we have discussed here this evening, and we would really like to know what people really think about this. What is it? What do you really think about feminism? Please share your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you so much once again.